short, scary stories for you guys, and you guys seem to love them as well. So I definitely do want to continue doing those for you guys. I just wanted to let you guys know a couple of things before I jump into these stories. I'll leave a little timestamp somewhere on the screen for those of you that just want to go straight into the stories. But for the rest of you guys, I did just want to go ahead and say thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for all of your love and support from day one till now. I will most likely reach 1,000 subscribers tonight, or maybe by tomorrow, or just as soon as this video goes up. So I just want to take the time and say thank you guys so much. I absolutely love you guys. I know obviously we haven't met face to face or anything, but you guys are just so sweet and make me feel so loved and happy that my videos help you guys in so many different ways. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to click on my video and watch it. It means so much to me. And if you guys knew me in real life, you guys would know that I am the biggest overthinker, and I do get very in my head about a lot of things that I do. So to even start this channel was a big step for me, because I never would have thought I would be in front of a camera with almost, if not already, 1,000 subscribers. So I'm just so proud of myself and so grateful for you guys. So yeah, I am just super thankful. Again, thank you. I love you guys. And if you're not already part of the BMR'S ASMR family, we would all love for you to join. So this is a safe and tingly place. So if you're not already, I hope you guys stay and join the family. But if not, you guys are here just to watch the stories. That is perfectly fine. If you do enjoy today's video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you do enjoy these and you would definitely like to see more in the future. I would really like to know, because I absolutely love these. So yeah, definitely let me know. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into these stories. I will leave all of them linked down below as always. And if you guys didn't notice, which I'm pretty sure you guys did, I do have a different background today. Let me know down below if you like this background. I feel like it's really nice and cozy. I have like a blanket on my lap and I'm just ready to read some stories. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. So this one is called I Have a Friendly Ghost in My House. I have had a few experiences now that make me think I have a friendly ghost in my house. It makes things that I lost and can't find appear in the middle of my bed or on the middle of my desk when I was absolutely sure they were empty, because I was searching my bed and my desk just before that. Here's two of my favorite experiences. This is my first encounter I had with my friendly ghost. I have a door in my room that leads to my balcony, but the doorknob is broken and not well attached, so it falls out sometimes. One time, my doorknob fell out, and I placed it somewhere but couldn't remember where. And I couldn't find it for about 4 days, but hadn't been intensively looking for it. Then my best friend came over and she wanted to smoke a cigarette on the balcony, but the door couldn't open because the doorknob was still lost. So we looked for about 20 minutes and checked if we could open the door without the knob a few times. We decided to just climb through the window to the balcony. When we climbed back into the room, I saw that my doorknob was in the door. Not just that, it was attached well and firmly, something it hadn't been for years, because it had been falling off all the time. We were freaked out, of course, but I wasn't scared because I saw it as a friendly gesture from the ghost. Another Okay, the next story is called That's Not My Daughter. Hi everyone, this is my first time on Reddit, and I'm not sure if I'm doing this correctly, but from the little research I've done, this seems like the place to tell my story. This happened in, I believe, July or August of 2017. My husband, our 3 daughters, and I were in the beach having a get-together with some of my extended family who lived in the area. It was a fairly nice time and good to connect with everyone, but after a couple hours, my second oldest, age 13 at the time, came up to me and asked if I could take her home. I could tell by her expression and tone that she was pretty tired. She and I are both introverts, and I'm sure she was less than thrilled to be spending a nice summer night with her cousins that are all a good deal older than her. I wasn't feeling too great myself, so I found my husband and let him know that I was going to take her home and to let our other girls know. She and I got in the car. We had brought 2 since my husband came to the beach on his own time after golfing. I made the short 5-minute drive back to our house. It was only once we'd parked, gotten up onto the porch and jiggled the door handle when we realized it was locked and we didn't have a key. My husband had the main one, and the absence of our fake rock in the garden told me that my eldest daughter had once again used the spare key to get inside and had left the key in the house. This was all very inconvenient, but nothing that hadn't happened before. So, I told my daughter to go around back and try to climb in through the huge window above the sink. While she was making her way across the house, I tried calling my husband just in case she couldn't get in, but he didn't pick up the phone. Once again, not too out of the ordinary. The reception at the beach is terrible, and he was probably busy anyway. I was in the middle of trying to call my oldest daughter when I looked through the window next to the front door, which always allows you to see through to the kitchen and in the back, and saw my daughter standing in the kitchen doorway. It was dark thanks to the screen, so I could only make out her silhouette, but it was definitely her. I know my daughter. She's quite short like me and has a very petite figure like my mom. I could recognize her from miles off. She didn't move. By the way she was standing, I could tell that she was staring right at me, but she didn't move a muscle. At first I thought maybe she was on her phone or something, but I could clearly see her arms on either side of her. She was standing in quite an odd position as well. Her feet were a good distance apart, and her arms were slightly raised from her sides. I didn't feel uneasy yet, but I was very confused as her and I continued to stare at one another for several more seconds. Lily, I remember saying. No more than 5 seconds after her name left my mouth, my daughter came jogging out from the side of the house and up the steps, telling me she couldn't get inside because there was a screen on the kitchen window and she couldn't pry it off. I stared at my daughter, my real daughter, for multiple seconds with what must have been a very terrified expression because her face instantly fell and she asked me if everything was okay. I couldn't answer, and I remember feeling my whole body start to shake as I slowly looked back at the window and into the house. Maybe I had imagined it. No, this thing was in my house and now in my living room, still standing in that weird position and staring right at me, but now at least 10 feet closer. Fear and adrenaline shot through my veins in a way only a mother could know, and I particularly yanked my daughter from those steps as we ran to the neighbor's house to get a spare key. Whatever was in my house was gone by the time we returned, or at least out of eyesight. the more I thought about it, the more I was feeling like it had been imagined. I barely even considered calling the police. What would I say to them? Hello, officers, I saw something in my house that looked exactly like my daughter, but I don't know what it was because she was standing right next to me when it happened. Absolutely not. I eventually chalked it up to me being exhausted or whatever, because honestly, what else could it have been? The last thing I wanted to worry about was some random thing in my house acting like the girl from The Ring. I didn't tell my daughter about my experience. I just apologized for losing it a bit and told her I thought I saw a wasp's nest. A terrible lie, truly, but she was either too tired or didn't care enough to question it, and her and I went straight to the TV room to watch her favorite show, Criminal Minds. This was not exactly my first choice of programs after what had just happened, but if it meant getting to keep an eye on my daughter for the night, I was more than happy to oblige. I know I said I chalked it up to my imagination, but I still couldn't shake the feeling that my girl was in danger. It tormented me for the rest of the night, and I must have checked on her at least 5 times while she was sleeping. Over 3 years later, I still think about it frequently, and it seems less and less like a terrifying daydream. I am almost positive that there was something in my house that night. Let me know your thoughts on this. Am I being dramatic? Nothing has happened since, and I never told my husband or anyone else, but it still torments me to this day. Okay guys, that is the end to that story. Now, I'm not exactly sure what to think of it, simply because nothing else seemed to happen over the years or over the time being, so it's really freaky, and I can't imagine you thinking you're looking at someone that you know, like, for example, you go to your parents' room, and you're obviously expecting to see your parents, and you see something that may look like them, and then you hear them in the kitchen or something, so it's just pretty creepy, and I definitely wanted to share that with you guys, and would love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think it was? Because that is definitely creepy. Okay, so the next story is called The Night That Haunted Me for Life. This is a day I won't ever forget. I was quite young, probably 4 or 5. I remember it was on a school night, and I had this nightmare, and I was in a spine, chillingly dark room, and I had a little butterfly lamp in my left arm, and as I lifted it, I seen I was surrounded by people, but I couldn't see anyone I knew. And being as young as I was, I panicked because their crawling skin kept reaching out to me, yelling at me to give them something. I quickly turned around at the sound of my father, and he didn't have a little lamp either. I remember smiling because I had finally found someone I knew among this crowd of strangers, and he asked me for this little lamp. He said, "Don't be scared, just give me the lamp and I will lead the way." And just before I gave him the little butterfly lamp, a hand touched my shoulder, and I slowly looked around to see an older woman, about 50 maybe, and I also noticed her little lamp. She smiled widely at me, and I felt warm. She said, "Darling, don't give anyone your lamp. As long as you have your light, you're safe." My dad completely changed. He grew these teeth and this skin that changed, and I was terrified. I woke up in a frantic, and I was sweating. I looked straight ahead, which was the bottom of my bed, where a little straw woven seat would normally sit. Instead, there sat my dad, but it was weird because he looked evil. Something was she replied, "Dad's in his own house, sweetie." I remember screaming as loud as I could, and then this man stood up, and he was a lot taller than my dad, and he started whispering, "Stop," to me, and I could hear my mother running up the stairs, and I pulled my blanket over my head, and when I looked again, the man was gone. Just a few weeks prior to this, a little snake appeared on the top of my bedroom door, and I remember my mom shouting at me for putting a sticker on the door, but then she went to peel it off. She realized it wasn't a sticker. It was almost like it was a part of the door, and it had been there, but me and my mom knew it was never there. Okay guys, that is the end to that story. That is really, really creepy, and definitely happy I found that story to add into this video. Let's see which other story we have. Okay. This next story is called Tooth Fairy. Mom, yes, Scarlett, is the Tooth Fairy real? I nervously whispered. Mom thought for a bit. Of course. Really? I whispered frantically. Will she come tonight? I had lost a baby tooth earlier in the afternoon while eating a carrot. Yes, honey, she smiled as she put a blanket over me. You don't want her to come? No, I frowned. Well then, get your tooth out from under your pillow. I grabbed my tiny tooth from under the pillow and threw it in the trash can. Okay, good night, Scarlett. Mom turned off my lamp and kissed my forehead. Night, Mom. As my mom slowly closed the door, I shut my eyes and started to drift off. I woke up to a bright light coming from the corner of my room. Rubbing my eyes, I tried to turn on my bedside lamp, but it wouldn't work. I squinted to see what it was, and that's when it turned around and showed me its ugly face. It was gray, thin hair that was falling over her face. Her tiny black eyes narrowed as she smiled, her toothy yellow smile. I shuddered and cried out. I would have called for Mom, of course, but I didn't want any more attention from the creature. It won't work, it wheezed, speaking with a thick accent. Where is your tooth? My tooth, I whispered. I need your tooth, little Scarlet. So you're the Tooth Fairy, I whispered, staring at it. Yes, now your tooth, where is it? I threw it out, I said. The fairy stared at me. I thought it was going to lunge at me with its sharp talons, but she just grinned. She whispered to herself. Another one. I don't have my tooth. Can you please go? Go. I stayed silent. Do you know what happens to children if they don't have a tooth for me? No. What? Well, it'll be easier to show you. She snapped her fingers. My teeth felt loose. The fairy faded away. Thinking all was a bad dream, I woke up the next morning when I went to brush my teeth. All my teeth were loose, as I had feared. I screamed. Mom came running in. What's the matter? Mom, my teeth. She took a look at my mouth and gasped. My teeth started falling off one by one. Every time a tooth was out, there was a string attached to it. Now, come on guys, that story is definitely freaky, even though, obviously, it seems to be fictional. But that is definitely creepy, and it was just a great story to find, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, the next story is called My Friends Wanted to Break into the Haunted House at the Edge of Town. It's been abandoned for years. Rumor has dripping down to my neck as I crept into the kitchen. The floor was covered in shattered flatware and bloody footprints. I could hear whispers bubbling up from the drain, speaking my name over and over, a deep thumping sound from beneath the floorboards. "I'm sorry I was gone so long," I said. "I won't do it again." The thumping stilled, the whispering paused. I didn't wait for an answer, knowing there wouldn't be one. I crept up to my bedroom instead, where the shadow woman always stands in the corner. I hate when she's there, but it's worse, far worse, when she's not. "Were you scared, Jody?" my friends had asked. No, I wasn't, because I know what a real haunted house looks like. Okay guys, that is the end to that spooky story. Now that one definitely freaked me out because it kind of just brought back like a flashback to when I watched the movie It. I believe it's the original one where I cannot remember her name, but it's like the main girl in It, the little girl, and she's in her bathroom and like the blood kind of starts coming out of the sink. Let me know if you guys know what scene I'm talking about. And she hears like its voice from the sink calling out to her. Like that kind of gave me that vibe at the end, which was so creepy. And the fact that her friends didn't even know that she's literally living a nightmare. It's just so crazy. So let me know what you guys think about that story. That one really did freak me out. Okay, let's see. So the next one is called Trick or Treating Was Cancelled Last Year. My daughter Emily was devastated. She loves Halloween. She spends the entire year leading up to it planning her costume so it's perfect. I would have done anything to make sure my baby could go out and enjoy Halloween to the fullest. But in September and October, 12 children had gone missing from our town. 2 of them were Emily's school friends. I was the one who had to break the news to her, so I fully expected she'd be angry at me. Instead, she blamed her father. "This is all Daddy's fault," she sobbed, and then refused to speak to him for days. I didn't understand what she meant at the time. Months later, when my husband was being led away in handcuffs and the shed in our backyard was swarming with police officers, my daughter got up on her tippy toes to whisper in my ear, "I told you it was all Daddy's fault." That was the end of that story. Now that one was truly terrifying. It seems as though the girl witnessed the dad doing something to all of those kids and her friends, which is so sad. But I feel like it's even creepier that, like, just that whole situation is just so wrong. I just can't imagine being that little girl or even the mom, because imagine finding out that your significant other has like kidnapped a whole bunch of girls. That's the scariest thought ever. And that is all the stories for today, you guys. I really hope that you guys enjoyed them all. Let me know which was your favorite down in the comments, or if you have any explanations for any of them. I would definitely love to know. I would like to mention that if any of you would like to send in your personal stories, I know I have read some in the past, but just in case there's any new subscribers that would like to send me their story times, or maybe you have already sent me in a story, you can send in another one as well. It could be a personal story, or maybe something you read on the internet. I can definitely share it with all of you guys. And before you leave, guys, again, I want to say thank you guys so much for all of your love and support. It does mean the absolute world to me, and I can't wait to see where this channel goes. And I have so much more things planned for this channel, so I really around. And like I said, for those who aren't part of the family, you guys are definitely always welcome to join. Also, if you guys have any video recommendations, let me know down in the comments. I always like to hear